What's goody, Hot Breathiverse? Welcome back to Hot Breath Live. This is a very special edition of our live stream. We do one every Tuesday. This one we jumped in on a Thursday to make a very special announcement, but to also bring on a very special guest. So if you want to get involved in these weekly live streams, join our email list. As I am your host, comedian Joel Byers, with my co-host Yoshi So, who we have a very special announcement today. Hot breath. I was letting the hot breath hit. So just to let everyone know,
Look
very
at me.
special news.
I'm the new Joe Byers. Look at that.
You are. I put our faces on the wrong side, but that's really good for the podcast. People can really see this. That's why you got to join. You got to join the live stream to get all these good technical difficulties.
Oh, for sure.
But the thing that's not difficult is to announce we are releasing Yoshi's comedy special on the Hot Breath YouTube channel September 30th.
Yes, let's go.
Monday, September 30th.
Yes.
We are doing a live premiere on the YouTube channel, Hot Breathiverse. This is a big deal. This is the first of its kind. We've been doing a lot of podcasts on here, but we're going to start mixing it up because we are the Hot Breath Comedy Network, and we are the world's most supportive comedy community in the world. So we're going to start showcasing other members of the Hot Breathiverse. So Yoshi is breaking the mold on this. The first special we're dropping on the YouTube channel. So please join our email list to stay up to date on all the details about this live premiere we're doing on September 30th. Congrats, Yoshi.
Yeah, let's go. I'm super excited, man. Been sitting on this one for a while. Been wanting to do a special. Recorded earlier this year. And yeah, now it is ready to be out to the world. And I'm super excited about it, man.
And as we were talking about how to roll this thing out, how to properly release a comedy special, our guest today is the first person that came to mind, because not only did he just drop a amazing comedy special that the material is not just amazing, the production value is amazing. His marketing of it has been very clever. Yep. And just in this comedy game, it's show business. The show is one job, the business is another job. And this is a cat who has a stronghold on both sides. Boom. So when we're talking about Yoshi's about to drop a special, let's get one of the best in this business game to help level it up. Yeah. Banker turned comedian, now social media star. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hot Breathiverse. Hot brethren, Stephan Dyer, everyone. Welcome him to the show.
Bravo! Muchas gracias por la invitación, Joel and Yoshi. How are you, my friends?
Fantastic.
I've been listening to the podcast for years. It means a lot that now I'm here.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we first connected on Instagram. You had shared a clip from the show, and then we started going back and forth in the DMs, and it was been keeping up with you ever since. And I'm a fan as well of what you're doing. It's incredible what you've built on your own. It's incredible.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, it means a lot that I'm here. This last year has been crazy for me. I went from 30,000 followers, where I was kind of stuck, 20 to 30,000 stuck for maybe 4 or 5 years since I quit my bank job in 2017, 18, and then went from 30,000 to 300,000 in this past 12 months between Instagram and TikTok. And it's just been insane. I think all the reading and listening to podcasts and reading articles and studying comics and studying success has really paid off like a bamboo, like sometimes it feels like it's not happening and then it just happens, but it doesn't happen if you quit. So just keep going and trying to have all these habits and routines and systems in place so that hopefully this is just a footnote in my career over the next couple of decades coming.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, your special is very cool. Super excited for it. Like, just out of the gate, man, like, what made you want to do this special?
And the special, I should say, is called Trans Citizen, and it's available on Stephan's YouTube channel. Just I'll link it
Yeah.
in the show notes, but people should definitely go check it out.
Thank you. So basically, what made me do it is on the ego side of things, I wanted to send a message to the community and in Canada that I do stand up in English
Mm,
because I'm from Costa Rica, so the majority of my career in Canada where I started stand up, but I started in Spanish.
mm.
And it's actually kind of cool that I'm here because last week it was my 10-year anniversary since my first open mic in Spanish.
Let's go.
So uh, me and my business partner Juan, we both started on the same day, and we started Mal Pensando, which is our comedy brand where we do workshops in Spanish and English, shows in Spanish and English, and then we have the corporate side of things, which is mostly English. And now we have a big festival called Latin Comedy Fest, which is the biggest Latin comedy festival in North America with 35 comics from 13 countries, 4 nights, 2 cities, so Toronto and Montreal. And I really wanted to just send a message and prove to me that I can also do. I've been doing English comedy for years, but not a lot of people know. And I always got the message like, I see your reels in Spanish on Instagram and I can never understand, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh. So, uh, long story short, I go and open a show to Rafi Comedy, Brazilian guy in New York,
Mm-hmm.
who's a great guy, in last year, November, in front of 1,000 people in Toronto. Killed. Rafi's amazing, gave me the shot, and then I'm in the green room, and this guy walks in. Rafi's like, hey, he directed my Netflix special in Brazil. And I'm like, hey, nice to meet you. He's like, yeah, my name is Juninho. And I'm like, are you living in Toronto? He's like, yeah, I just moved. I'm like, do my special. It's in 3 months. And
Whoa.
and he's like, let's do it. I just moved. I need to, like, I guess, make a name for myself in this country. I already did 92 comedy specials in Brazil, a lot of them for Netflix, for Amazon Prime, for HBO. And
Wow.
I'm looking to do something here. And
Wow.
because that happened, I was like, let's do it. And I realized from studying a lot of great business minds that, well, Yoshi, you're doing a special right now. Like the effort, if you do it at the corner bar, like at any bar, and you do it at a theater, it's almost pretty much the same. It's a lot of effort. So,
Yes.
dude, like the Italian owner of the restaurant in the corner works probably harder than Elon Musk. It's just
Yes.
like it's a different hard. And
Yeah.
Elon Musk has a lot of leverage, but the restaurant doesn't. So I was
Hmm.
like, let's do this big. I've
Mm-hmm.
been here for 10 years doing stand up, not a lot in English compared to Spanish, and I have all these people who have never seen me. So I went and booked a theater that was like, I don't know, $3,000, 300 people, sold out back to back shows, hired this guy, went in hard, messaged. People think I had followers. I didn't have, I had 20,000, like 40,000 followers maybe in January, February when I was doing the special. I messaged 4,000 people individually on my LinkedIn. All the people that I had worked with at the bank, in the financial industry, all the people from Toastmasters, from my fraternity, from all these places. And I figured 1 or 2 in 10 are going to say yes. So if I message 4,000 people, I'm going to sell out 400, 500 seats. I can record back-to-back shows, take the best out of both shows, and then make a really good product for YouTube. So that's what happened.
Nice, dude.
No big deal.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
big deal. Just
What was like the inflection point of your Instagram? Because it's like you said, was there a certain style of content that started to take off, or when did you start to find your footing there?
Every time I've invested in mastermind or in coaching, it's always been a ridiculous ROI. And I had heard about this guy called Dan Martell on podcasts, and then I bought his book called Buy Back Your Time.
Mm-hmm.
So Dan Martell, greatest book in the business world right now for entrepreneurs, productivity for entrepreneurs. And I added him on LinkedIn. He messaged me back. He's like, "Hey, we'll let you to connect." Long story short, I join his entrepreneur group, which is like $10,000 a year, and then I I'm in the group for a couple of months. He runs a testimonial contest. 300 people are in the thing. 100 people send videos. I win the whole thing. He flies me to BC, to British Columbia, to Kelowna for a 1 day coaching, VIP coaching all day with him. And he really taught me the 10x vision of myself. He's like, if you wake up in 30 years, what do you want to be doing? And I said, stand up comedy. And he's like, then why are we doing all these other things like this like productivity, personal growth podcast? Why are you doing all these things like teaching all these things that are not aligned to this? He's like, if you could make like a bunch of money a month, like what would be amazing for you? And I was like amazing? I don't know, 25 grand a month after tax? That'd be really cool. And he's like, do you think anybody in the world in comedy is doing that? I'm like, yeah, a bunch of people. And like obviously Kevin Hart is doing a lot more than that. And he's like, okay, who are the top 10 people in your space? Like I talk a lot about immigrants because I'm an immigrant. And he's like, and I'm like, okay, these guys. He's like, okay, what have they done that if you do those things, take the same courses, read the same books, go on stage as many times as they are, go to the same festivals, network with the same people, talk about the same things, post the same amount of times, everything that they've done, that if you do it, it would be impossible for you not to become one of them in 10 or 15 years. So that's when I stopped doing a bunch of things and really like laser focused on stand-up comedy and stopped doing a bunch of things that were not really adding to it. I used to post a lot about productivity, business, soccer, like vulnerability, all like public speaking. And then I was just like, okay, my profile is just stand up comedy. And I'm just going to post once or twice a day. And then I started doing sketch comedy as well, a little skits. And then it took off with to the point that went from 30 to 300,000 in 12 months, my man.
Masterclass right there.
Wow.
Yeah.
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 Wow. See,
Yeah.
that's why I wanted you on here, because
Yeah.
most comedians don't think like you. And as me being a father in a few months, I'm now thinking of, okay, I need to be doing things smarter, and I need to be thinking more long term and being more intentional about what I do say yes and no to. Because you make it sound so easy, but I guess it is like a mindset shift, I guess, as well.
Yeah. Huge mindset shift. And just like, and even just the thought around future thinking version of yourself. What is the future version of you want? And then working towards that. And then looking at the people that do it best, right? It's almost like, oh, so if these 10 people who I know I want to be like are doing this stuff, I
Mm-hmm.
should just copy what they're doing. And to your point, it's hard not to do that, not to be successful if you're doing everything that they're doing as well. It's almost like the blueprint has been written for you already with the people who are already successful.
Yeah, I think it's exactly that. Like, I've always loved documentaries and studying successful people. But at the same time, I think sometimes your superpower can be your biggest weakness. And I always took pride in myself of being like balanced, you know?
Hmm.
So I did a bunch of things and was good at all of them, but never really took off in any of them. So I used to, hey, let's go play soccer. Let's go play poker with the boys. Let's run. Let's do marathons. Let's travel. Let's teach productivity workshops. Let's go to Toastmasters. Let's do all. And then I was like, all right, one thing. What if you wake up in 30 years or 40 and you could only do one thing? What's the one thing? And that's when I did. And then I realized from Dan Martell too that sometimes it's not even what you do, it's what you don't do. So
Mm.
I stopped drinking. Not that I was a big party animal, but what are my focuses? All I care about and everything I do now is comedy family, and business. That's all it is. If it doesn't contribute to that, I'm not doing it. So sometimes I used to be like, yeah, let's go for a drink with my wife or some friends. Next thing you know, it's never one drink, it's three. And then that's in Canada, that's like $60. Then what happens? You don't have a good night's sleep, so you don't rest, so you don't wake up early to go to the gym, or
Mm-hmm.
you don't wake up early when your son wakes you up to go to play. And then you're like, just so you don't have a productive morning. And it's okay one day, but it builds, it builds, it builds. So next thing you know, productivity, you people think about productivity as a function of time, but it's more of energy. If you have the time but you're feeling sluggish and not high energy, you're not doing anything. So I started making other changes where as an entrepreneur now, I'm not available to people before 1 p.m. I don't take any calls. You can't reach me. None of my clients can reach me. Only I have meetings Tuesdays and Wednesdays with people after 1 p.m. Monday, Thursday, Friday, it's completely blocked off. I know a lot of people don't have the luxury of doing this, but you can still do other pockets. A lot of people be like, no, I don't have time. But if I check your phone right now, you probably did 25 hours of TikTok this month, this week, this
Right.
week. So you do have time, and you do have time for partying, and you do have time to go and watch all the fucking Netflix stuff. So I mean, it's like Mark Manson says from The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Stop complaining about the results you didn't get for the work you did not put in. Simple. It's a
Mm,
decision. If you want to play poker with the boys and watch Netflix, and that's a meaningful life to you, 100 like respect. But it's not for me. And we've all been that guy on Netflix watching all your comedy friends succeed and being fucking bitter. I don't want to be that guy. So I just made a decision, and fortunately, I've had some cool outcomes that have proven to me that it is the right path for me, at least. So I'm trying to triple down on it, and I think I'm in the right path.
that's fantastic. You know what I heard there that whole time is we got you at 11, which means you made time for us. So I appreciate.
Yep.
But this is
And we
aligned. This
appreciate
is
that.
1,000. Dude, I used to listen to
Yeah,
this podcast running in the pandemic when I went to visit my father in Florida, 2021.
yeah,
I like on
yeah.
repeat. Judy Carter, Greg Dean, all these
Mm-hmm.
people. I'm like, this is. I never thought I would be here, but this is just a testament of like when you come from Latin America, anything in the States is just insane. And all the people, dude, I've been to some of the best festivals in Latin America, and they were putting this podcast in the group chat. And
Let's
yeah,
go.
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
No, I appreciate that, and I love how you're focused. Like, went from all this stuff to this is the thing that I want. So this is now the thing that I focus on. How'd you make that jump in terms of now that this is the thing that I'm focused on? Now, what do you do with this focus?
yeah, I was telling Joel right before this that I'm going to New York twice in the next 3 weeks or in the next month to do corporate shows and keynotes. And obviously, I'm going to perform when I'm there. But the what happened is what happens to the rest of the stuff. So when I was in this VIP coaching with Dan Martell, you can't just like night to day stop doing everything you're doing because then you don't eat. Like the transformation doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah,
So he's like, you can't stop doing the corporate workshops, the public speaking stuff, teaching business presentations and public speaking at the University of Toronto. You can't stop doing some of these things. But what you can do is be directionally accurate. And what he does is he will assess what the top 10 people are doing, and then he'll be like, okay, what are these skills? Let's just say I wanted to be at SNL, Saturday Night Live. One of the things that they all have in common is they have to do sketches. So they have to have done improv. They must also know how to write. They also know how to make people laugh. They got to know how to do stand up a little bit. They may come from different backgrounds, but if I wanted to get there, do you think it would be productive for me to go hard into sketch comedy writing? 1,000%.
Yeah.
So, and in writing for commercials, for humor, for movies, all
Yep.
these things are a skill. So, while I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing that makes me money currently, I will talk to people who are in writing rooms, talk to people who have been there,
Yep.
and obviously take lessons, take classes or workshops in this. And just Google top 10 sketch comedy books on Amazon and then read all the 10 of them. But don't read them, study the books. And I used to love reading a lot about productivity in business, and comedy, but now I did that Google search and I got some of the best books. I even had on my podcast Adam. Oh my God, what's his name? Adam
Ray?
Ruth.
Bloom?
Adam Ray.
Adam
No,
Bloom?
Adam Bloom. Adam Bloom. Incredible book, man. And
Mhm.
now he's my friend. So everything that, like, the more you focus, the more you start to get around these people. The more you post about this, the more people start to associate you with this. And then it's crazy, man. But your idols start to become your peers. So
Mm.
you can't stop doing what you're doing, but you can be directionally accurate to the point that if you fast forward 5 years, where you want to be becomes your new day to day, and you're not going after the corporate stuff as much. Well, I'm still doing it, but I'm getting a lot more opportunities in where I want to be in the future.
What-
All right,
how-
there, Stephan Vaynerchuk. I see you, buddy.
Well,
Gary V.
how do you balance all this with family? Because part of where my mindset shift is happening now is, okay, in 5 years, I don't want to be living on the road, but I do want to be making a really good living that provides a stable lifestyle for my family. So I'm now at a point of I can do stand up, I can be on the road, but now it's like, okay, what now if I don't want to be gone that much? Because I see you're on the road a good bit, and you from social media seem like a good father. So I'm struggling with that mentally about how to balance the two while making as much money as humanly possible in the most authentic way, of course.
Yeah. Well, I think there are some beliefs that you are going to need to tackle, same as I have. First off, my dad traveled a lot and he's a great dad. And what I'm doing now, because I don't want to miss my son's childhood and I want to be at all the games and I mean, Liam is 4, but you get what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And I bundle the road. So I'll go out for 5 days, do 5 cities in 5 days, like Thursday to Sunday. And it seems like it's a lot on the flyer, but it's just one weekend. And the other thing is, dude, we're less than 0.01% of the time on stage, like physically on stage. So, what are you doing with all the other time as a father and a businessman? So, I get up at 5 or 5:30 to go to the gym so that when my son wakes up, I'm here and I can play with him. I don't usually, unless it's teaching or an important show, I am here typically after 5. I go pick him up and I drop him off at school every day. And the other thing is, everything has a price tag. So you just got to decide if you want to pay the price tag for wherever you want to go. And in my book, it's I think that if I was still at the bank, I may be traveling a lot more,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't have a chance. I don't have a say in it. On the other hand, I get to pick when I travel, and the better I become, I get to charge more, and I get to pick where to go. And why not bring your family on the road? I took my family to New York City in April. They come to Montreal with me sometimes. They're coming with me to Columbus in October. So if it's not like 5 cities in 5 nights, I'm bringing them along, and we're gonna make the ride really cool. My wife loves to travel. Uh, my son loves to not go to school, so it's fun, man. I mean,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, what's the example I'm giving to my son? Am I giving up and I'm just, no, because I went? He's gonna resent me for something eventually. I might as well follow my dreams and leave him that example. So fuck it. I'm 100%, man. Fuck it.
No. That's those are big facts right there. I mean, because here's the thing. Like, I think Joel and I we talk about this because I take care of my kids. I take my kids to school almost every day. I pick them up every day, take them to school in the mornings, and it's about the time that you spend. Right. I make the trip actually worthwhile. It's 20 minutes. What do we do with that 20 minutes? And I also think, I don't know if we talked about this, but having a support system and having somebody at home that kind of
Yeah.
supports dreams and like is like go get that cash and like helps you like do the things that you're not able to do as well, I think is super important. But yeah, man, I love that philosophy that you've got about it of there's a cost to this. How can you maximize charging, bringing the family along and making sure that they're a part of the dream as well?
Every time I've let an opportunity pass and then I see what would have happened, I'm like, fuck, I would have done okay, man. It was just a fear.
Mm.
I don't let if it's something else other than fear, that's fine. But I'm not gonna let fear, dude. I quit my juicy paycheck bank job to do this, and ate shit for 4 years until the pandemic came. Then ate more shit. Do you think I'm gonna let this fucking thing go get away from me? No fucking chance.
Right. Yeah.
All right. We were a clean comedy podcast.
I forgot about it. Yeah.
No. I'm just messing with you. No. That's Stephan Vaynerchuk for sure. Because that's exactly what he would have done. No,
Yeah.
no, I get it, man. I think there's just an element of knowing what you want and then going after it, right? And I
Hmm.
mean, just like your whole talk track on the fact that you put money into the things that were important for you. You got the book, you read the books, you went to the workshops, like you invested in your future by learning how to do the things, by being around the people that do the things that you want to do and studying them. So that's, yeah, testify. That's like somebody said in the comments. That's amazing.
We all know these people that are incredible comics, man, and they're still performing in front of 11 people every Thursday, and or 30 or whatever the club brings in. And I think it's everybody's journey to understand what are your fears and what are your beliefs, and get after it, man. Because I, I realized, so this was my train of thought when I quit the bank. Okay, I had saved $44,000, and I said, after 7 years of working at the bank, and I said, I'm going to buy myself a year. My business partner, also a senior manager at the bank at the time, Huang, and we both quit at the same time on the same day, 2017.
Whoa.
And yeah,
Wait, how many years of comedy were you doing?
two, just insane. To do comedy in Spanish in a country that does not speak Spanish, by the way. Just ignorance is bliss at the greatest. Yeah, insane. So I was like, I don't know why I had this kind of wisdom to myself, but I'm very self aware, and I said I know some guys in Toronto who have quit their jobs, day jobs, to do comedy and didn't make it, and they had to go back to the bank or back to their day jobs. So I was like, on paper, they had more years than me. They're objectively funnier. They know more people in the business, and they still failed, quote unquote. Because I don't think that if you go back, it's a failure. I think the failure is not trying, but they still had to go
Mm,
back, and I don't want to go back to the bank. So
sure.
I said I got to do something extraordinary to be able to make it. And I was like, okay, I'm going to study the greats. I'm going to study Tony Robbins, all his books. I'm going to listen podcasts all the time, at the gym, everywhere I go. I'm going to read personal growth books, and I'm going to study these successful people. And then I'm going to apply their habits, their blueprint, their beliefs, their habit systems, everything onto my life. Because being a top performing engineer and a top performing soccer player and a top performing comedian, it's all the same. It's all the same habits. It's all the same. You gotta, if you want to do it for 45, 50, 60 years consistently, not like have a one hit wonder and then do nothing and be bitter for just be like the 70-year-old guy in the bar, like, oh, I used to be a quarterback in high school, you know? But I don't want that.
Right.
So I studied them and started to apply. I didn't have a lot of results for many years, but my first thing was I got the Second City full scholarship for the Diversity and Inclusion Fellowship, 16 of us in Toronto, 4-month program, and then did Comedy Central Fest in 2019 in Mexico, and just little things. And then we founded our own festival, and the pandemic came. But I think it's only been in this last year where I have some external stuff like on social media and making it like a big business approach to comedy that I've had more results.
That's
Are there
awesome.
any other? So it seems like social media, the leverage. I'm trying to think of like other business um, mindsets around comedy that maybe most comics are should tap into more. Or tell us what to do, Stefan. Can you just give us? Can you just? Will you do it for us? Will you just go
Yeah,
to each
yeah,
individual of us and be like, abracadabra? No, but seriously,
Yeah, this
for
is
our
my
business.
approach. So I think there are 8 billion people in the world, and none of them, 99.999%, don't need to like me. And there's a article very famous, 1,000 True Fans. And you only need 1,000 true fans that give you $100 each a year to make it. So I started back in the day trying to be somebody else on stage because I was like, a lot of Toronto comics are doing one liners. They're not very physical comedy like in Latin America. They're not storytelling a lot like in Latin America. Some people are deadpan. And I started to try and do that because I was like, well, I guess that's working in English. And all my references were English comics growing up and watching American comedy. So it was just not clicking, man. It was just horrible. I'm walking people like every time I'm on stage, people are going to bathroom, and it was horrible. And then I was like, did the Second City Fellowship, and they had a class on finding your voice, and it was like, what can you do that not a lot of people can do, and
Mm.
what can you talk about that not a lot of people can talk about? It doesn't matter if it's funny yet, but just double down on that because Naval, who is another person that I've studied a lot, Naval, has a 3-hour episode on Spotify called How to Get Rich Without Getting Lucky. And I've listened to this like 70 times over the past couple of years. 3 hours, 70 times. Insane. Every time in the car. And now Alex Hermosi, the 4 episodes on modern wisdom, just masterclass on business and life. And Naval says, escape competition through authenticity. So if you want to win, which I want to do because I don't want to go to the bank, back to the bank, you basically need to escape competition by being yourself because not a lot, nobody can be better at being Stephan Dyer than Stephan Dyer. Now the hard thing is finding out who Stephan Dyer is because you got to try a lot of different things and see what's funny with what actually clicks and what is you, and you got to have the courage to go and bomb and try out different things. So I started to tell my story, approach it from an immigrant perspective, and say things that I knew. Dude, I didn't have a single hater for like 7 years. Now, there's people insulting me right now as we speak on Instagram and TikTok. But the leading indicator that you're doing well is the hate that you get along the way. Alex Ramosi talks about this all the time. So be yourself. All the stuff that they're telling you, you probably already told yourself as you were bombing the first couple years. So I'm not scared. I don't care about these people, man. They weren't with me in the trenches when I started. I don't care anyways. I only need the people who like me, which I have 300,000 of, and that's fine. And they feed me. My career is growing, so I'm all about being myself, and I think I'm getting better at it.
So many answers have just had an exhale afterwards of
Man.
just.
Yeah. Hot breath. Yeah, those were straight bars. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think what is very obvious is that you have tapped into something that a lot of people don't tap into. You've sort of found a blueprint that definitely works for you. And your belief that really anyone can do this once they're sort of tapped into it is so amazing. What habits did you form to get to where you are now? Like, what were the habits that you sort of, you talked about it, sort of just, some productivity things. What other things that you think would be helpful for comedians from a habit perspective that got you to where you are now?
And to find out who you are. Like you said, you did a lot
Yeah.
of trial and error to find out who Stefan is. So, two-parter
Yeah,
there. No pressure.
I think the two-part answer to that is how to survive until you make enough money from comedy, which it took me 5 years after I quit to make more money than I used to make at the bank. And the second one is you can never make it to Kevin Hart level unless you delegate. It's not about yourself. You have to have a team eventually. So uh, the first one is productivity wise and business wise, understanding how much is your hour worth, which I learned from Naval on that podcast. So let's say that your hour, how much you make an hour, is worth, I don't know, let's say $50, $100, just to round it out, make it easy. $100. And from a business perspective, which Dan Martell talks a lot about in Buy Back Your Time, if your hour is worth $100, you can't be wasting your life doing $20 an hour jobs. But you are doing a bunch of $20 an hour jobs, like washing the dishes, doing your laundry, doing invoicing, blah blah blah. I know that you can't just stop doing them right now, but I started to hire an intern to do all the admin stuff that is worth $20 an hour, for just to round it out. And then if I can charge $100 an hour for a show, then I need to hire somebody that can do all the admin stuff so that I can buy back. So I can buy back 30 hours of my time a month, for example. And then with those, now what I do with those, I'm not going to go watch Netflix 30 hours. With those 30 hours that I have freed up, I'm going to go sell what makes me more money, which is $100 an hour shows or corporate stuff. And then with that money, I can now hire this guy 1,000,000 hours more because I'm making the difference, the $80 on top of that. So the concept Dan Martell teaches is audit, transfer, fill. You audit your calendar for 2 weeks. You do it in 30-minute chunks, and you basically categorize everything by, it's like a quadrant. This is what you love to do, the x-axis, and this is how much money it makes you, the y-axis. So if you hate doing it and it doesn't make you money, that's the first thing that you need to delegate, the admin stuff. If you love to do it but it doesn't make you that much money, that's the investment quadrant, which eventually is going to make you money. Now, if you hate to do it and it makes you money, you gotta wait. You gotta delegate all the admin stuff that you hate doing and it doesn't make you money. And then your kind of zone of genius, to use the big leap words, is what you love doing and it makes you a lot of money. So that's where you want to live eventually, but you can't live there like right off the top, like immediately. So I can't stop doing what makes me money, especially if I had a day job or doing the stuff that I do. So delegate the admin stuff, buy back 30, 40, 50 hours of your time. Use that time to book corporate stuff, book shows, book stuff that are going to make you money. And also, to the second point, is Reels on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
So growth, I don't know if the algorithm is going to change, but right now it's Reels. You're not going to make any followers on stories. You're not going to Reels is where the money's at. where the growth happens. So if the top 10 people in the world are doing 15 reels a week, I got to start by doing one a day. And I got to learn how to learn to edit. So I just got like a notification on Instagram the other day. I've edited I posted like 500 reels since reels started like 3 years ago. And which means I'm almost posting one a day or one every 2 days. And then once I master that craft and analyze the metrics of what has worked, because there are topics that you talk about that people love more than others. So when I talk about Venezuela, where my wife is at, where my wife is from, I typically get a lot more views and shares and stuff. So I post a lot of other stuff, but I'm for sure going to post Venezuela stuff once or twice or 3 times a week. And now that I've mastered that, now I can delegate it. And the best way to delegate is to write a SOP, which is in the book, is a form of leverage. Leverage is like a force multiplier for your effort. So Naval has this thing, which basically the 4 ways to multiply your effort is capital. If people give you money, you can buy a bunch of machines and produce more, but that's expensive. Labor, hire more people to do more stuff that you're doing or sell more stuff. But the other thing is collaboration, but also uh, the internet and code. So anything that doesn't have any additional cost of replication. So for example, this is leverage. If you post a podcast, if you upload a podcast, it doesn't cost you more for the third person to listen to it than the millionth person to listen to it. And that's where you get the leverage, the force multiplier. So now I created a document, a standard operating procedure, where I tell the editors exactly how I want my videos, step by step, and I film myself editing my videos so that they have that reference. I'll film myself on Zoom or whatever, or on Loom, and then I upload that link onto the document so that in their training they can see how I do it, how I like it. And I interviewed like 4 editors to see which one is the best fit. I ended up hiring 2 from me and my business partner, and now every time I go on stage, I send them the video. They already have the document as how we want, and it's like an ongoing document. And I give them ideas on other videos that I've seen that I really like, how I like my videos, the ones that have gone viral. So I'm kind of like cloning myself and paying them a good wage, but obviously less than what I make at what I make in the things that I charge more, which is corporate comedy and when I go on tour. So it's just like all the time, like freeing up time to charge more, and then paying people to buy back your time with the menial stuff you don't want to do or admin stuff. And then once you've done that, you because you're working on this skill more through time, you get to charge more, and then you get to buy back your time from other stuff that you don't want to do. And it's just a game of buying back your time and upgrading yourself in the market. So that's how we do it.
Dan would be so proud.
Yeah, I don't even know why we have these mics in our hands, because I think they've already been dropped, because this is wow. So you talk about the book Dan Martell, Buy Back Your Time. What was the other books? The Naval.
Naval is a podcast on the Naval podcast, and it's just how to get rich without getting lucky. It's the 3-hour episode where it's a compilation of a bunch of other episodes.
Gotcha.
And if you want to sell more and have incredible offers, you have to read Alex Hormozi's $100 million leads and $100 million offers. But my favorite episodes right now on all of this is Alex Hormozi on Modern Wisdom podcast. They got 4 episodes, and you just go Alex Hormozi Modern Wisdom, and they'll come up. I'm obsessed with all these things, and I just go on repeat, like Naval 60, 70 times, and Hormozi on Modern Wisdom a bunch of times too.
But I think my favorite thing about everything you said is you consume this stuff and then you just go apply it.
Yes.
Right? Like you're consuming this stuff, like you're listening to it all the time, and then you just go do it. Right? It's like the blueprint is given, and then you go make the action happen. I think a lot of times we get stuck in the act of, well, I'm gonna just keep listening. I'm gonna just keep listening,
And
and
I
then
think
don't.
people do even do that with this podcast as well. They'll keep listening
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
learning and not applying. And applying
not
that's the secret sauce.
yeah. And we tell people all the time. They're like, "Hey, how do I get good at stand up?" You do it.
You
You
gotta get
just
on
keep doing it.
stage.
You
Yeah.
just get on stage a lot, as often as humanly possible when you can. And so, yeah. So I
To,
love that.
to that point, that's another big thing for me. Like, there's no better way to learn stand up than to just go on stage. However, same as listening to podcasts where you have the mental masturbation of like, oh, I'm listening to all these things and I'm watching these TED Talks, but then you don't apply anything. I think it's the same where I'm always asking myself, I'll give the Netflix example. So, um, actually, I'll give the example that I wanted to give that I thought when I first quit the bank. I said, okay, it's taken a lot of comics 15 years to make it, but I don't have 15 years to make it. I can't. I don't want to go back to the bank. So, what do the top comics do to advance faster? Still going on a stage a lot. Still going on a stage a lot. But what other things are downstream from that they're doing that will fast track me going to the best Stephan Dyer possible on stage? And that is you have to review the video. I meant to mention that when I was editing the editing part. I used to hate watching my video, like me on the game tape, me on stage.
Right.
But when I edited all my reels, it was like an excuse to watch it indirectly because I was editing. And you improve a lot, so much from watching the game, but it's very painful, especially in the first couple years.
Mm-hmm.
Reading books, taking workshops, asking feedback, watching stand up, networking with comics, doing different shows. Like there's a million things that like doing a special because I have a student on my comedy coaching group where she just did her special in Vancouver. Her name is Elvia Pinilla, and she's been doing stand up for a year or two. And she asked me, "Do you think it's like a waste of my time doing my special right now? Because I like typically people do it after 5 or 7 years." And I was like, "No, do it," because like Alex Hermosi says, the work works more on you than you work on it. So the work does more work on you than you do on it. So by doing a special, you will become so much better because you're going to rehearse a lot and you're going to film it and you're going to have people than if you just postponed it. Like it's like you gotta go and put yourself in these in uncomfortable situations. Most of the stuff that I sell to corporate, I don't have ready, but because I collect the cash, now I gotta get prepared. So yeah. So you think I knew 500 people were gonna come to my special? No, but because I booked it and I paid the deposit, Dan Martel says that the transformation happens in the transaction. So I spent all of December and January messaging people, uploading it, and just a simple example, like I hired a guy on Upwork, which is where you can Fiverr and Upwork, you can hire designers and editors and a bunch of stuff. I hired a guy who does flyers for Netflix, comedy specials, flyers for Netflix, and other stuff. And I hired him to design my flyer. Because guess what? The only thing that people see to decide whether or not they're going to come to the special, if they're never have seen you, how the flyer looks. It's like the thumbnail for a YouTube video. So while it
Mm-hmm.
was a maybe $600 investment for all these potential flyers, and then working and deciding and then getting on, it's a great investment because I was charging $50 per ticket, and my goal was to get like 500 people to come. So the whole like just to show you like the magnitude of it, but it was going to be the same work at a smaller place anyways. But the whole thing cost me like $25,000 to put everything at the producer, video editing, like theater, everything. And from the tickets, I got like $20,000. So I only put 3 or 4,000 of my own money. And through that video, I've gotten a bunch of corporate gigs that are like 3, 5 times that. So you're always investing, but you got to have the faith that it's going to work out, because in the moment when you're putting down the money, when you're coughing up the money, you're like, oh, I don't know if this is going to work. But every time I've invested big time, there have been a lot of dividends.
Yeah. So some broke comics listening to this are like, well, good for you, Mr. Moneybags. But I think the moral of that story is invest in your comedy in whatever you can, whether that is investing even your time. Like when I started out, I had a day job and I'd be up at 7 and then out till midnight doing comedy. Like, so there's different types of investment. If you're like, oh, I'm broke living with 4 other comics, it's just taking it seriously and treating it like a business at
Yeah,
every level.
but I didn't have that money. That's the thing. I didn't have that money. I put it on my line of
Mm.
credit, and that's where you're like, oh, yeah, I don't have the money. I didn't have it. But that's the thing. It's just you got to decide: are you going to pay the price tag for the Jordan ones, or are you not going to? Instead of complaining that they're $500, you either pay them or you don't. But
Mm-hmm.
I know where I want to be in 10 years, and those are the things that the top 10 people have done. I might as well do them right now. And do you think had I not put down all that money on my line of credit, I would have messaged 4,000 people? Of course not.
No. Mm-hmm.
Because I got it. Of course not. So it's not even. And there's people that are going to be saying, like John Mulaney or like Kevin Hart. They're going to say it cost my $400,000. And I would say, good for you, money. Of course not, because it's not like 0 or 1. It's not, are you committed or are you not? It's how committed are you? Is how involved are you? It's a continuum. So it's a growth mindset, because a lot of people that just complain and give up, they're like, oh yeah, well, you were born funny. Easy for you. But I wasn't. I was never the funny guy in my family, never the funny guy in the class. Everybody, when I quit, was like, you're an idiot. You're not funny. And now I'm like, I told you. So yeah, of course, it's easy when you got the money, but I didn't. That, that that's when, if you bet on yourself, you really find out who you are. I actually, my savings were going down like that when I quit my job, and my girlfriend, now wife, I was like, would you support me before I quit? And she was like, yeah. So we moved to a smaller place, stopped eating out, stopped drinking, stopped I mean, not drinking, but like drinking at bars, stopped eating out, stopped Ubers, stopped traveling. When you make money or you have a job, the majority of people that you hang out with make kind of like the same money. And when your friends are like, oh, let's go to Montreal, let's go to Europe, let's go, or your family, because my family doesn't live in Canada, come to Costa Rica, blah, blah, and you gotta be like, no, then it becomes real. I don't have I don't, it becomes real. Like, how bad do you want it? Dude, I used to write $1 million deals, like credits for millionaires. That's what I did, wealth management. Like 10 million, $50 million deals that I used to write, business proposals. And then I went and tried to get a mortgage after I quit at Scotiabank for 300,000, which is nothing for Toronto real estate. And they said no. Like, obviously, because I didn't have a letter of employment. I should have applied a couple weeks before when I still had a job. But it really hurt my ego to be like, man, I'm getting married and we want something together with my wife. And they were like, they didn't even look at my case. They were just like, no. I'm like, you know who I am? And she's like, no.
Wow.
So, yeah, man. Every stage, it's not like every stage has its jumps, you know? And it's just a decision. Do you want to jump or don't or not?
Yeah, I think Brock says it best in the live chat. That says Stephan needs to come on like 6 or 7 more times. He's
Oh my god! Oh my
Stephan
god!
is the hot breath life coach here. It's
Yeah.
But I knew. I mean, I knew what we were getting into today. I mean, I knew, but now everyone else knows. But that's why when Yoshi said trying to do this awesome thing, I was like, I know the perfect person to help really lock in the mindset so we can knock this out of the park. So
Yeah. I mean, and here's the thing, like even I mean, talk about sort of just planning your team around you. I'll tell you this, Stephens, like me and Joel got together like a couple weeks ago and I was like, Joel, I want you to be a part of this and I want the hot breath to be a part of this because you guys have been a part of like me getting better as a writer. And we literally came up with a plan. We've been meeting weekly on like what we're doing for marketing. And it's like the realization, oh, use the people around you, like you said, to help you get to the places that you want. We're collaborating on this, you know what I mean? And so it's like the things that you mentioned around just the work ethic and what you need to do and the activities that you have to get to where you want to get to are so important and I think are such a good mindset to have to get anywhere when it comes to success with comedy. So good on you, man. This has been masterclass, my man. Thank you for this. This
yeah,
I
is
thank
like,
you for your
appreciate it.
time.
yeah, dude,
And
this is
yeah, I
next
think
level.
maybe the last question to land the plane is like we're trying to make this a special event. We're trying to really put Yoshi's special out there based on someone who has put out a special at a high level. Anything we should look out for? Anything we should be sure to do, or mistakes you made that to avoid, or just kind of maybe closing advice for us for this project?
I think how you package it is very important and the story around it. So I hired the same guy just for the thumbnails and got a bunch of thumbnails for story, YouTube, Instagram, and and to me that's very important because a lot of people judge a book by its cover. And if the
Mm-hmm.
thumbnail is good, Mr. B spends like 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 per thumbnail. And you'll be like, yeah, good for him, Mr. Moneybags. But he's been doing it since he was like 13 when he was studying YouTube, like studying it. And
Right, of
so
course.
basically, it's at every level. And I invested in that. And the other thing is, okay, my special right now is like 8,000 views. But this is the magic question that Dan Martell asks, like what would need to be true? What would need to happen for you to reach an outcome? Which, let's say I want 50,000 views on that special. And the launch didn't do it. I don't have the horse, like what I've done so far, I don't have enough because otherwise I would have already 50,000 views. So now in my mind right now, to leverage, I got to get other people on board. So what I'm going to do now over the next month is I'm going to message 1,000 people asking, and I'm going to put it on my Instagram stories, asking people to put the trailer. Oh, have a trailer. Very important. The trailer on their Instagram stories. And I'm going to ask them to take a picture as they're watching the special and share it and tag me. And the other thing I'm going to do, which I'm currently doing, is to chop up the special. Let's say there's like 37 jokes or more. I'm going to chop that special up into reels and post all of them on my Instagram. Everything I post on Instagram, I post on TikTok and I post on Facebook and I post on Instagram stories. And if it's under 60 seconds, I'll post on YouTube shorts. So that way I'm getting 4x uh, result output for the same effort of having the edited reel. So, and LinkedIn, which is a big under tapped market that
Mm-hmm.
especially if it's clean comedy, I post most of my stuff there too. And that gets you corporate gigs, which is money. So
Amen.
so the three advices, yeah, make sure it's packaged well, thumbnails, trailer, and post everything on Reels. And then YouTube also allows for longer stuff, not 90 seconds. So I'm gonna post like 5 minute, 10 minute bits, chunks of the special separately on YouTube, and gonna get a lot of people to post it. And if they don't post it, maybe 1 in 3 will post it, but at least I'm still getting 1,000 people to know about it and watch it, and then the algorithm may show it to other people. So that's what I'm doing.
There you go. All right. We have our marching orders, Yoshi.
Yeah. I literally Hey, Chat GPT, write a project plan on how to do all this stuff.
Hey, ChatGPT, act as Stephan Dyer
Act
and
as Stephan
launch
Dyer.
this comedy special. But
Exactly.
yeah, thank you. I know we're in the middle of a day on a Thursday, but I seriously appreciate your time.
Yeah, man.
What would you like to promote, and how can the Hot Breathverse help you?
Yeah, man. The flyer. I mean, the trailer. If it can go on the stories, that'd be great.
Great.
Uh, and feel free to send me your stuff, Yoshi, and yours, Joel. I'll kindly collaboration is one of the four C's in leverage.
Mm,
So I will never be able to access like a thousand of my comic friends' audiences, like 100% of them. But if they share it on my behalf, I'm tapping into a different market. All you
Nah,
need is one person to see it, and then your career could change. But if
yep.
you, like Dan Martell says, everything you've ever wanted is on the other side of reach and reputation. So if you're a good guy and you have a hard work ethic, and then you get that reach, it's inevitable that you're going to get there, whatever
for
that there means to you. So just laser focused, not doing stuff that is not like related to this, and where will the next 10 years take us, man? I'm excited.
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
yeah. Congratulations, Stefan. This is
Yep.
like
I
amazing.
appreciate it, man.
Good
Yep.
luck.
Go follow Stephan, his Instagram at Stephan Dyer,
Yeah.
YouTube, everything Stephan Dyer. Definitely go connect with him, share his comedy special, Hot Breath Verse. Let's really rally around Stephan. And really, we're all about comics helping comics here. So let's share that spirit with Stephan's special and this episode. So thank you so much for
And
your time,
Yoshi's.
Stephan.
Oh,
And
thank
Yoshi's. Oh, don't forget, September 30th.
September
We're doing a
30th.
live premiere on September 30th. So join our email list so you can stay updated on the details of that live premiere and how we
Yeah,
can blow up Yoshi's special as well, which is very
absolutely.
exciting.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my mom to see it. If she sees, if she sees the special, yo, I made it.
Woo. Well, thank you everyone for hanging out during the live stream today, and we will be back on Tuesday with another one. But until then, we'll see y'all next week, Comedy Fam. Thank you. We love you.
Let's go.
Bye,
Ciao,
y'all.
ciao.
Oh, appreciate you, Stefan.